Shri Rajnath Singh Ji, Honorable Union Minister of Home Affairs, Government of India, Shri Muralidhar Rao Ji, National General Secretary, Bharatiya Janata Party, dignitaries on the dais, friends, a very good morning to all of you. Friends, at the very outset, I welcome you all to this unique initiative by ASSOCHAM Defense Council and Bharat Niti, a policy advocacy platform. A very warm welcome to Shri Rajnath Singh Ji, our Honorable Home Minister, who has joined us during the peak of ongoing session of Parliament. I call it a unique initiative because it is for the first time that we have brought the issues of achieving self-reliance in manufacturing and equipment required by the security forces responsible for internal security of the country and the armed forces responsible for safeguard against external threats. For this, I must compliment Shri Muralidhar Rao Ji, who conceptualized this idea. It is known fact that security is a precondition for a sustainable and harmonious growth of any nation. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'll put it slightly different. In my belief, security concerns of a nation grows in direct proportion to its economic growth. The rapid economic growth of our country in the last 25 years has thrown numerous security challenges for the country and Indians working in foreign lands. We all have witnessed the nefarious designs of our neighbors to create tension situations on our borders and fuel militancy, insurgency, and Maoist movement in the country. Security challenges to the country are enormous, and if India has to deal with these challenges, then the long overdue modernization of its police, paramilitary forces, and armed forces is not only inevitable, but it has to be expeditious and time-bound. No economy in the world can afford to import such huge requirements of arms and equipment for modernization and capability building of our security forces. Indigenization and self-reliance in R&D and manufacturing is thus inevitable. A country with a huge industrial base like ours cannot leave this to a few defense public sector undertakings or ordnance factories. Private sector has to lead the defense manufacturing. We have collected here today to deliberate and to suggest the ways to overcome the difficulties being faced by the industry in this vital field. And we couldn't have been more fortunate than to have Honorable Home Minister Shri Rajnath Singh Ji amongst us for the inaugural session. After taking over as the Union Minister for Home Affairs, Shri Singh Ji has been relentlessly working towards improving the capabilities of internal security troops. With a hands-on approach, Shri Singh has been instrumental in initiating modernization of security forces to deal with cross-border infiltration, which has been a major problem of our nation for years. Under his sharp whistle, a comprehensive border management system is being put in place. Equipping our forces with the latest gadgets and weaponry is also high on his agenda. Shri Singh is leaving no stone unturned in taking our security arrangements to the next level. Sir, we from the industry pledge our support to your efforts. Ever since the defense sector has been opened, the response from the industry has been very positive. ASSOCHAM in particular has been very active in promoting policy formulation for private sector participation in defense. You would be glad to know that this is ASSOCHAM's 5th major initiative taken by us during the year, and we are happy that we have the Bharat Niti with us this time. The Honorable Minister may recall addressing our earlier initiatives on cyber security and homeland security. Another important segment which I'd like to touch upon is that we have a number of ordnance factories and defense organizations conceptualized and set up largely during the Second World War to support the operations of the East. The ordnance factories have been doing human service over many decades, but it's time to reinvent their roles and to see how PPP models can be worked out to bring the private sector to support in the modernization and scaling up of the operations. So now that the defense sector has been opened up for the private sector, keeping in mind the capital-intensive nature and its national importance, it is perhaps worthwhile to extend the infrastructure status to this industry, as this can ease the access of finance to this sector. Minister, sir, we are aware how you have played an important role in liberalizing the FDI limits of defense sector. We now seek your support in getting the infrastructure sector status for this sector. Another important thing I'd like to highlight is the security, private security guards in the country, which is more than double the number of structured security forces under the government. But unfortunately, due to the lack of proper structured training, selection criteria and the equipment, they do not add any value to the national security index. So this needs to be streamlined. Friends, before I conclude, let me compliment the government for taking a very bold and decisive step in checking the growth of parallel economy. Let me assure you, sir, that the industry is wholeheartedly with the government to see that we together realize the Prime Minister's dream. Thank you very much.